Peace, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. Sadiki Baye, and I'd like to thank you once again for blessing me to be able to be in your presence and to come into your home to share with you what the Creator and the ancestors has blessed me with. During my past 5 or 6 videos, we talked about Genesis in the beginning of how things really started with man. And now we have completed that. We're going to go on another journey, which is similar, and we're going to go right into Daniel. But before we do, we have to prepare. Everything is about preparation. And we have to make sure that we learn, know, and embrace the truth. Because the truth is the light, and the truth will set you free. But before then, I'd like to thank Queen Mother Harriet Atkinson, H. Victoria Hargrove Atkinson, for blessing me with these crowns. Look how beautiful that is. She made me many of them. And also, I'd like to thank Queen Mother Mamie in Georgia for blessing me with allowing me to explain to the audience the difference between the diet in the beginning and the eating habits and the diets of today. And when we went through that, we saw there were some vast differences. But we're going to continue on into the book of Daniel. But before we do, we have to prepare for this journey also. And we must learn the origin of things, the beginning. We must learn the beginning. We must prepare our journey, because preparation gives you meaning and direction and purpose. So we must intentionally do that before we go on a journey, because they say, hey, never go into anything without preparing, because you might get your head chopped off. So no, let us understand what we're getting ourselves into before we get on that journey. Most people want to go from the starting line to the finish at the same time, but I don't do that. I'm a teacher, I'm an instructor, and we must be willing to be instructed in order to make things more purposeful. More purposeful. Everything we do should have a purpose. Now, we must embrace a process that will take us from A to B, because the process should be a process that has been tested and proven throughout the ages, that will give us the desired results. Because most of the time we jump on things and no purpose. We go in there blindly and get ourselves all beat up and destroyed, and we start blaming each other. That's not fair. So we must be flexible and open before we start. Because learning can be painful, as I said many times before. And it is. But it's all good. You're not going to get everything right away. So take it with you. Take it home. Flip it, digest it, throw it around in your mind, and seek more of it, and you will see some light. Because light exposes everything that's in the dark. Someone has thrust us in the dark, and now we are feeling ourselves around, bumping into each other, bumping into everything, blaming each other. But we must stop that. We must do all we can to know the truth, because the truth is the light, and only the light can set you free. But the purpose of light is to expose what is before you. So you can't fool energy, brothers and sisters. So let's go ahead on and bring some light into our lives, because most of us are addicted to darkness, and start justifying, complaining, and all of this kind of nonsense. We got to stop that. We got to elevate our consciousness and take charge. Now, again, we must embrace a process that is conducive to bringing us what we desire. If you follow the process, then that means that you have a road map that will give you some true direction. And we must have direction on everything we do. The first thing we must do also is to be patient with ourselves and the process, because we're not a patient people. We want everything yesterday, no matter what. Unless we're involved in the enemy's process, then we have all the patience in the world. We go to these schools to teach us how to be fools and all of this, you know what I mean? And all we do is conform to their ways. Here we are eagles, and we go into schools to teach us how to be chickens. You think they're going to tell us that we are eagles? Of course not, because they already know that eagles eat chickens. And you think they're going to tell us that? They might be stupid, but they ain't that stupid. So we must know that ourselves. We must study and seek the truth about who we are and whose we are and what we are, so that we have a clear a path on our journey. Now, we must be willing to change our mindset and our habits. We must be willing to do that. And because we don't, the majority of us, we have a tendency to fight to stay the same when everything must change. If everything is moving, everything is changing. So let us continue to move with a purpose. And we have moved from Genesis, which is the beginning of this book that we call the Bible, which is nothing but a book of instructions. It's a roadmap. It's a book of causes and effects. It's a book to let you know what works and what doesn't work, and what happens when you decide on something, and if it doesn't come out correctly, then it gives you another way to approach it where you can get what you desire. Now, this book, which was written by King James, this Holy Bible, I don't even want to get into King James, because when you study him, you'll know that King James was a comrade of Willie Lynch. I'm just throwing this stuff out there to you so you can seek it yourself. Willie Lynch, who is a straight racist, he's one of the causes of all of this stuff here. He said that his number one comrade is King James. So King James was a major player in the slave trade, and to tricking us up, twisting our minds all kinds of ways. So let's understand the background of things, the foundation of things, and then we can go from there. We got to be rooted in, brothers. We got to be deep rooted again. So with that in mind, we must be about the business of changing our mindset and our habits, because those are the very things that have got us in trouble. And we start blaming each other, which is very, very extremely unfair. Man up and woman up. Own up. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. That's all part of learning. Making mistakes. So what? It's what you did with your mistakes, or what you do with your mistakes, that makes the difference. Free yourself from the light, from the darkness, and come on out to the light where the truth is, because only the truth can set you free. Now, I'm going to give you some raw food for thought. And the raw food for thought will cause you to create balance, because we're not a balanced people overall. Some of us are, very few, but we need more balanced people. And balance will cause you to master yourself. And when you have mastered yourself, again, that creates balance. Mastery of self is the whole purpose of life. And when you have mastered yourself, that is God. Because you're balanced spiritually, mentally, and spiritually. They told us in schools, physical, mental, and spiritual. No, that's them. We are spiritual, mental, and physical. They flipped up everything upside down to have us going the wrong way. See, the devil don't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn, about anything other than tricking you, lying to you, deceiving you, miseducating you. We go to these schools to teach us to be dumb as on or what. You know what I mean? To be fools. So we got to know who we are and start trusting and believing in one another. We must be willing to be instructed. But we have this funky attitude. Ain't nobody going to tell me what to do. Oh, yeah, somebody going to tell you what to do. Matter of fact, somebody told you to say that, but you don't know that. So let's educate each other. Education is about self first. We are eagles by nature. And eagles soar in the air for days without even coming down. But they teach us how to be chickens. How long does a chicken stay in the air when it's so-called flying? A couple seconds, but it comes right back down to earth. Not only that, eagles eat chickens, as I said before. So, brothers and sisters, I just want to give you some information that will prepare you, to prepare your mind to have some direction and some meaning in life, and not feeling our way through all the time, because feelings come and go like the weather. Let's start knowing. See, the wise man doesn't go by what he feels. He goes by what he knows. So I have three main purposes in life that I like to share with you. The first purpose is to feed your soul. So what do I mean by that? First of all, we got to know what the soul is. The soul composes everything about man. It's a compilation of man. The soul consists of your thinking, your reasoning, your feelings, your emotions, your thought process, your perspective, your character. It composes of all of that and some. But somebody had tampered with our souls and made us soulless. And that's why we're extremely emotional. So we got to know, when you review my last videos, the first soul man was who? Adam. Adam was the first soul man. He was the first human. Man means mind. And we got to get back to the mental, the spiritual of ourselves. That's the essence of ourselves. So the first purpose is to feed your soul. And that's what gives you balance. The second purpose is to strengthen your spirit. And what do I mean by that? To strengthen your spirit means to know who you are, to know whose you are, to know what you are, and to know your purpose. When you feed your soul, you're learning about the essence of who you are, your reality. We are spiritual first, always was and always will be. But when they flip you upside down, then you become physical first. And that's why we judge everything from a physical perspective. We got to get back to our reality. And I thank the Creator and the ancestors for blessing me with this information. What's good is it to have it and have no one to share it with. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know we got a lot of haters out there, and Dr. Sadiki don't know what he's talking about, and he's this and he's that. But that's all good. I don't have a problem with that. Because I understand, the reality of where we are. We are in this world. But the purpose of it all is to rise above this world. Can you do that? The third purpose is to renew your body. How do you renew your body? Let's go back to the beginning in Genesis. It says what? Let the food from your tree be your meat. And let the herbs from the field be the healing of the nation. Now, let's break that down a little bit to remind you that, okay, the food from the tree is your meat. That's your nutrients. That's what energizes you. The fruits, the nuts. And then it says, let the herbs from the fields be the healing of the nation. Okay, you got vegetables. The vegetables build your body. It's a builder. And the herbs is the healer. So you got the fruit, you got the vegetables, and you got the herbs. Now, we became disobedient. And because we were disobedient, we disturbed all of nature. Now you got the animals eating each other, fighting each other. You got man fighting each other. Some of them start eating each other, cannibals up there in the mountains, as you know that story. Became bloodsuckers. See, man disturbed all of nature and everything became crazy. But originally, all living beings and creatures ate the same thing. We ate the same thing. But because of our disobedience, man just threw everything off. So now we are chasing animals, animals chasing us, animals chasing each other, man chasing each other. Wow. Are you for real, brothers and sisters? We are way out of our reality. And this system, this American diet and all of that reinforces that. They are our enemies. So we have to get rid of this. God loves everybody. Well, I don't know what God you're talking about, because the God I know doesn't love everybody. Love your enemy as you love yourself. Are you for real? If I'm going to love my enemy like I love myself, then there's no such thing as an enemy. Why even entertain the term enemy? It doesn't make sense. Everything should make sense. That's why God gave us senses. Let's use it. But we abuse it and take it for granted. And we allow others to manipulate it. So the main purpose in life, brothers and sisters, should be, number one, feed your soul. Let's get our souls back, because that creates balance. It allows you to know who you are, whose you are, and what you are. If you don't know where you come from, how in the hell you know where you are? And if you don't know where you are, you definitely don't know where you're going. It is what it is. Don't get mad. Learn. Even though learning can be painful, but you can't beat the blessings. You cannot beat the blessings. Because the blessing, if the blessing is in the lesson, we got to start learning. That's just how simple it is. Life is simplicity, but we made everything difficult out of disobedience, out of being stiff-necked, attitude, overly emotional. I'm just giving you certain ingredients so that you can see, where we are and what happened to us. Seek it yourself. I'm just giving you some motivation, inspiration, encouragement to do it yourself. You don't have to believe what I believe, and you're not going to get everything I'm saying right away. That's the purpose of homework. We understand that when we go to these dumbass schools to teach us how to be fools, that we study and break our behinds to pass those tests. And then we go to college, we pay all this money just to get a piece of paper. And what does that piece of paper indicate? Now you're ready to get a job. You mean I have to go through all of that to get a job? That's why I understand now what it says in the scripture. God bless the child who got his own. Got his own what? Got his own mind. Got his own mind. Because the mind is everything. Everything you see is mind. And man means mind. So if you have God, you got man, you got woman, and you got child. All of them are connected. That is God. So why are we so spooked up about this name God? It only came on the scene 7,000 years ago. The essence of us is God. The 2% is the hue part of us. The clay, the soil. You can't even find the beginning of mine. Because it ain't nothing until you call it. Be careful what you call everything. Because it's real to you. And it can be kind of crazy. It can be kind of spooky. But make sure that your call is accurate and beneficial to your purpose. But we got to know who we are, whose we are, and what we are, and where we came from. We got to be deep-rooted, brothers and sisters. We have to be deep. We are so surface now. That's why we're so overly emotional and fall to pieces and blame each other. There's no fairness in that. Man up. Man up. Woman up. Don't get mad. Learn. So with that in mind, brothers and sisters, yes, brothers and sisters, as I said before, we have to man up, woman up, and man up in order that we may create our balance. Also, brothers and sisters, when you have the three main purposes together, which is to feed your soul, to strengthen your spirit, and to renew your body, when you draw the line, you have mind control. And mind control equals mastery of self. And when you have mastered yourself, that is God. That's why we call him master. We have to transform ourselves into our Father. Like Jesus said, when you believe as I believe, you are my brother. My Father in heaven is your Father. And I and the Father are one. And he also said, things I do, greater things you could do. How come we're not taught that? We need to be told that often, because we were taught that we are sinners and that's it. We'll get ours in the land of milk and honey. You know, when you die, in the by and by. But when you go to the land of milk and honey, I understand that milk and honey is a laxative. Why would you want to go to a place like that? You know what's there. If it's a laxative, you got all over the place. I mean, it is what it is, brothers and sisters. Let's make some sense out of our journey, out of our life, out of our reality. In order to learn, you must be willing to be instructed. And there's two ways of questioning. You question for clarification, and you question a person's authority. When we talk about the enemy, those who don't look like us, those foreigners, whoever they are, anybody other than us, we question for clarification. When we question each other, we question each other's authority like we don't know anything. None of us know anything. We are just sinners. You know, we got to be careful with that. We are the original people. We are God's chosen people. You can't get nothing better than original. Last but not least, brothers and sisters, we must stop. Man, I mean, we must stop feeling our ways through life and start knowing ourselves through life. Let me say that again. We got to stop feeling our way through life and start knowing our ways through life. Because the wise man goes by what he knows. Our Father wants us to know it all. Because if I came from my Father, I and my Father are one. We don't have to be spooked up about that. Stop allowing these ministers and these all these other people, rabbis and pastors and all these other people to tell us who we are. They're coming from a slavery perspective because most of them don't even know. It's all emotions. But in reality, it should be all about knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So with that in mind, brothers and sisters, the next time we're going to go right into the book of Daniel. We're going to study our warrior ancestor, Daniel. And that's a mindset. Each character represents a mindset. And we're going to find that out together the next time. So bring your Bible, the King James Version, and we're going to get into the book of Daniel, and we're going to follow up and see how Daniel's connected to Genesis. Everything that's real is connected. So with that in mind, Keep your lights on and keep them bright at all times. And also remember to stay strong and keep your faith where it belongs. Life is about the survival of the most fittest. The more fit you are, the better chance you have to be here with balance. Last but not least, do your best and let God do the rest. In other words, you got to know when to hold and know when to fold. How do you know when to hold and know when to fold? You have to have a strong discerning spirit to know the difference. So you won't be using emotions the way that they taught us. Always go on how you feel. No, we need to go on what we know. And that's all that matters. You know, what I know is what I know. Everybody else have an opinion. And it's all good. Because everybody have a right to their opinion. But what you know is what you know. So, thank you once again. Have a blessed week. I love you, I bless you, and I want you to prosper. Peace.